Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Kennedy half-dollar coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Imagine holding a piece of history in your hands, not just any coin, but one that tells the story of a nation's 200th birthday. That's exactly what the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar represents. More than just 50 cents, this coin has become a favorite among collectors, not only for its patriotic design but also for the rare errors and varieties that can turn pocket change into a small fortune. Released to celebrate America's bicentennial, the coin was struck for 2 years, 1975 and 1976, and features a dual date of 1776 to 1976 on the obverse. But what truly sets it apart is the reverse. The usual presidential seal is replaced with a stunning image of Independence Hall, a powerful symbol of freedom and the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence. But here's where it gets exciting for collectors. Not all 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollars are created equal. The U.S. Mint produced these coins in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint had its own surprises. San Francisco struck both proof and silver-clad versions. That's right, some of these coins actually contain 40% silver, making them not only valuable for collectors, but also for their silver content. These silver-clad coins were mostly sold in special collector sets, so if you find one in circulation, consider yourself lucky. Now let's talk about what really gets collectors' hearts racing, the errors point. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, where the date or the word liberty appears slightly doubled. This type of mint error is rare and can drastically raise the value of the coin, especially in higher grades. Another valuable variety is the no mint mark proof from San Francisco. These proofs were supposed to carry an S mint mark, but a few escaped without it. Spotting one of these means you've stumbled upon a rare mistake, and it could be worth hundreds. Then there's the off-center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. The more dramatic the off-center, the more valuable it becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Some of these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands, depending on their condition. Collectors also search for coins with clipped planchets, die cracks, and struck-through errors, all of which are rare but exciting finds that boost the appeal and the price of a Kennedy half-dollar. And don't forget about condition. A regular 1776 to 1976 half-dollar pulled from circulation may only be worth its face value. But one in pristine uncirculated or proof condition, especially those certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can command a premium. Now, let's talk real numbers. A standard circulated copper-nickel version might only be worth 50 cents to a couple of dollars. But the 40% silver versions? Those start around $5 to $10, and higher grades can reach 20 or more. Proof versions, especially deep cameo examples from San Francisco, can sell for $30 to $50, or even higher. But the rarest of them all? A 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar with a dramatic error or in top-tier condition has sold at auction for over $2,000. Yes, that's right, a coin originally worth just 50 cents can now be worth thousands if it has the right features and the right buyer. So the next time you come across one of these coins, don't just toss it in your change jar. Take a closer look. You might be holding a hidden gem, a slice of American history with real collector value. Top 2, we are diving into a coin that many people overlook but collectors absolutely love, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another half-dollar from your change jar, but this coin has some surprises hidden beneath its surface. From minting quirks to rare errors and limited mintage quality, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar might just be one of the more underrated coins of the 1980s. Now here's something most people don't realize. Back in 1983, the United States Mint had no intention of flooding the country with half-dollars. In fact, during this time, demand for 50-cent pieces was so low that these coins were produced in relatively smaller quantities and were not widely released into circulation. That alone already makes the 1983 half-dollar more interesting. Struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, these coins never received the special collector-proof treatment from San Francisco that year. That's right, no 1983 S proofs exist. Which means that if you want a high-grade version of this coin, you have to rely on the few well-struck pieces from regular minting, and that's where the challenge begins. Why? Because the early 80s were not known for their great coin quality. Many 1983 Kennedy half dollars came out of the mint with weak strikes, poor luster, and bag marks. Finding a clean, sharp, and uncirculated piece is surprisingly difficult. And collectors? They're always chasing those top-condition examples, but it gets even better, or worse, depending on how you see it, because 1983 is also known for several eye-catching mint errors that can make your coin far more valuable than you might expect. Point one of the most talked about is the double die reverse. On some 1983 halves, you'll notice extra thickness or doubling on the lettering, especially around United States of America and half dollar. This doubling isn't damage, it's a true minting mistake, and it's one that collectors love. Then you've got the off-center strikes, where the design is shifted away from the center, leaving part of the coin blank. The more off-center the strike, while still showing the full date, the more collectible the coin becomes. Another rare type is the clipped planchet, where a small part of the coin is missing due to an error during the cutting of the coin blank. If the clip is dramatic and clean, it can add significant value to the coin. There are also examples with die cracks, struck through grease errors, and even partial collars, where the rim of the coin appears misaligned or partially missing. All of these are genuine minting errors and can make even a common half dollar into a desirable collectible, and of course, let's not forget condition. A heavily worn 1983 half dollar isn't going to break the bank. But a sharp, uncirculated one, especially one with a certified grade, can turn a small find into a serious piece of your collection. Now let's talk value, the part every collector wants to hear. A typical 1983 Kennedy half dollar found in change is usually worth around 50 cents to $1. But a high-grade uncirculated coin, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, can fetch anywhere from $20 to $50 depending on eye appeal and luster. If you're lucky enough to own a near-perfect example in MS-67, you could be looking at over $200 in value. Now, for the rarest of the rare, certified error coins like the double die reverse or dramatic off-center strikes, these have sold at auction for over $1,000 depending on condition and rarity. Top 3, we are unlocking the hidden story of a coin that many people have forgotten, the 1981 Kennedy half dollar. You've probably seen it in a drawer, a coin jar, or maybe even spent one without thinking twice. But what if we told you this coin could be more than just 50 cents? What if certain versions of the 1981 Kennedy half dollar were actually worth serious money today? Let's dive into the fascinating world behind this coin, its limited release, its minting quirks, and the rare errors that make it a true gem in the eyes of collectors. The year 1981 was a turning point for the Kennedy half dollar series. This was the final year that the US Mint released these coins for general circulation. After that, starting in 1982, Kennedy halves were only produced for collector sets. That fact alone makes the 1981 issue historically important and more desirable. It marks the end of an era, the last chance for everyday Americans to get these coins from banks and change counters. The 1981 Kennedy half dollars were minted at Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. But here's where it gets more interesting. The coins struck at San Francisco were proof coins only, meaning they were never intended for circulation. These were specially made for collectors, with mirror-like finishes and sharp details. So, if you find a 1981 Kennedy half dollar, it likely came from a broken proof set, and if it's still in great shape, it could be something special. Now let's talk about what makes certain 1981 Kennedy halves really stand out. The mint errors and varieties. Point one of the most intriguing is the double die obverse, where parts of the front design, like the words Liberty or the date, appear slightly doubled. These doubling errors are not common, and when found, they can make the coin significantly more valuable. Then we have the off-center strike, a rare mistake during minting where the design doesn't hit the center of the coin. If you find a 1981 half dollar with a dramatic off-center strike and the full date still visible, that's a collectible piece worth holding onto. Another error that fascinates collectors is the clipped planchet. This happens when the blank metal disc is cut improperly, and a small part of the coin is missing. A clearly clipped 1981 Kennedy half dollar, especially with the date intact, becomes instantly valuable. There are also die cracks, struck through grease errors, and even partial collars, where the edge of the coin looks misaligned or incomplete. Each of these minting mistakes tells a unique story and adds value to an otherwise ordinary-looking coin. Condition also plays a huge role in value. Most 1981 half dollars found in circulation are scratched, worn down, or dull. But coins that have been preserved in mint state, with strong luster and no signs of wear, are far harder to find, especially in high grades like MS65 or above. Now, let's get to the numbers, the part every collector wants to hear. A regular circulated 1981 Kennedy half dollar is worth about its face value, 50 cents, up to $1 or $2. But an uncirculated example in MS63 to MS65 can sell for $10 to $25, depending on quality. If you're lucky enough to find a coin graded MS66 or higher, it can jump to $50 to $100 or more. Proof versions from San Francisco, especially those with deep cameo contrast, can reach $30 to $60, depending on condition, and the rarest, most valuable examples. Error coins like off-center strikes or double dies in high grade have sold at auction for over $600 to $1,000. So next time you come across a 1981 Kennedy half dollar, don't overlook it. Check the mint mark. Look for errors. Examine its condition. You might just be holding a piece of US coin history that's worth far more than 50 cents. Top 4. We are unlocking the secrets of a coin that often flies under the radar. The 1992 Kennedy half dollar. While it might look like an ordinary piece of pocket change, this coin holds far more value than you might expect, especially to collectors who know what to look for. Let's travel back for a moment to the early 90s, a time when half dollars were no longer widely used in circulation. By 1992, most Americans rarely saw these coins in their daily lives, and many banks didn't even stock them. As a result, Kennedy half dollars from this era are already less common in circulation. But the story gets much more interesting when you look at how and where the 1992 half dollars were made. The U.S. Mint struck 1992 Kennedy half dollars in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, while Denver coins carry the familiar D mint mark. But the most exciting version? That came from San Francisco. And it's not just one coin. In 1992, the San Francisco Mint produced two types of Kennedy half dollars, the regular proof coin, and for the very first time, the 90% silver proof. Yes, you heard that right. The U.S. Mint brought back silver Kennedy half dollars in 1992, exclusively for collectors, as part of the silver proof set. This makes the 1992 silver Kennedy half dollar historically important. It's the first silver half dollar made for collectors since 1970. These coins are gorgeous, with a sharp strike, deep mirrors, and frosted details. But since they were only available in special sets, finding them loose or in high grade today is a challenge. And that challenge excites collectors. Now let's talk about what truly makes some 1992 half dollars rare and valuable. The mint errors and die varieties that slipped past quality control. One of the most desirable is the double die obverse, where elements like the words Liberty or the date show noticeable doubling. While not common, these errors have been confirmed and can drastically raise a coin's value, especially in uncirculated condition. Another sought-after error is the off-center strike, where part of the design is visibly missing due to misalignment during minting. The more dramatic the error, while still showing the full date, the more collectors are willing to pay. Then there are struck-through errors, where grease or debris affects part of the coin's design, resulting in missing or blurry details. Combine that with a high-grade coin, and you've got something that stands out even more. Don't forget clipped planchets, die cracks, and missing layers, all of which can be found on Kennedy half dollars, and when they appear on a 1992 coin, their value can multiply significantly. And of course, condition is everything. A 1992 Kennedy half dollar found in circulation today might show wear and scratches, but finding one in mint state, especially certified by PCGS or NGC, is much tougher and far more valuable. Now, let's get to what you really want to know: the real value of this coin in today's market. A standard circulated 1992 Kennedy half dollar is typically worth around 50 cents to $1. An uncirculated coin from Philadelphia or Denver in MS-65 can sell for $5 to $15. If you have a top-graded coin, like MS-67 or better, it could be worth $50 to $100. Now for the San Francisco proofs. A regular 1992 clad proof coin is worth $5 to $10 depending on condition. But the 1992 silver proof version, especially in deep cameo and PR69 or PR70, can be worth $30 to $60 or more, and if you happen to own a rare error, like a double die, off-center strike, or struck on the wrong planchet, these have sold at auction for over $500 to $1,000. Depending on grade and visibility of the error. So before you toss that 1992 $half back into the jar, take a second look. It might not just be 50 cents, it could be a piece of American history worth holding onto, or even flipping for real money. Top 5, and last rare coin, we are exploring a coin that might be hiding in your collection, one that's often overlooked but could be worth much more than face value. We're talking about the 1971 Kennedy $half, a coin with a rich history, hidden errors, and some surprising value if you know what to look for. The Kennedy $half was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to the beloved President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. It quickly became a symbol of national pride and remembrance. But the 1971 version of this coin is where things get particularly interesting for collectors. Why 1971? Because this year marked a major change. For the first time, the United States Mint produced the Kennedy $half without any silver content for circulation. Before this, even after the silver was reduced in 1965, there was still 40% silver in the coin. But starting in 1971, the coins were struck on a copper-nickel clad planchet, a big deal in numismatic history. Now, most 1971 $half you'll find are common. They're often seen in pocket change, rolls from the bank, or old collections. But don't be fooled, some rare and valuable errors were created during this minting transition, and these are what collectors dream about. One of the rarest finds is the 1971 Kennedy $half mistakenly struck on a silver planchet from the previous year. These transitional errors occurred when leftover silver blanks were accidentally used. Only a few of these coins have been discovered, and they are considered true treasures. Another exciting error is the double die obverse. This happens when the design is struck twice slightly off, creating a noticeable doubling effect, usually seen on Kennedy's profile or on the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." These can be subtle or dramatic, and even minor examples are highly collectible. You may also encounter off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned, leaving part of the coin blank. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can be. Collectors love these because each one is unique. Other errors include clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a mistake during blank production. If the clip is clear and doesn't damage major design elements, these can be highly desirable. The 1971 Kennedy $half was minted at Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, while San Francisco struck proof versions for collectors. The proof coins, especially the ultra cameo examples, are stunning, with sharp frosted designs and mirror-like fields. In top condition, these can fetch excellent prices. So, what's it worth? In circulated condition, a regular 1971 Kennedy $half is typically worth around $1. But now for the exciting part. Some error coins struck on silver planchets have sold for over $12,000 at major auctions. Yes, $12,000. Double die examples in high grade can reach values of $500 to over $1,000. Off-center strikes and clipped planchets have been known to sell between $200 and $800, depending on how dramatic and well-preserved they are. Even proof coins with ultra cameo contrast can be worth $300 to $400 if professionally graded in pristine condition. So next time you come across a 1971 Kennedy $half, don't ignore it. Examine it closely. Look for signs of errors. You could be holding a rare gem that turns a simple 50-cent coin into a valuable collector's prize. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more coin stories, and comment below if you found any Kennedy $half with rare features. Keep hunting, keep learning, and happy collecting.